How's it going, friends? Welcome to another Fallout 76 video guide. Today we're going to be comparing the Tesla rifle and the Fixer. Now, ever since Season 15 Atlantic City release, the Tesla seems to have gotten buffed just a little bit. Granted, there's nothing in the patch notes that show there was a buff to the Tesla rifles. It does seem to be hitting a lot harder than it used to be. Now, before we get started, here's what we're going to be going over today for this video. We're going to start off with doing a crit damage comparison between both the Tesla rifle and the Fixer, inside and outside of Sneak. Next, we're going to be covering the time to kill, and then finally, we're going to be bringing it into an Earl instance to show a damage comparison between both weapons. Unfortunately, I will not be doing a full solo clear with the Tesla because I am not skilled enough. So in short, we're just strictly looking at the numbers, using a couple chems and such, and comparing the damage. So with that, let's get right into it. So we're going to start things off with the Quad 50 Crit Tesla with the automatic barrel and the reflex sight. The current damage is 169, and the Fixer we're going to be using is a Quad 50 Crit fully modded with double aligned suppressor and perforating mag with a tweaked receiver for extra crit damage. Both weapons are going to be modded as much as they possibly can, focusing around crits. Now here's the perk cards that we are going to be using. So the only thing that is going to be different is I'm going to be using all 3 science perk cards, which will increase the Tesla's damage. Now I did remove a couple perk cards like Adrenaline, as well as Tenderizer and Follow Through, so there is no random increase in our damage, so everything stays consistent for every single shot that we take. If you'd like to see these builds individually, I'll leave links to both the Energy Bloody Sneak Crit build as well as the Ballistic Bloody Sneak Crit build under the description. Now I'm going to show you guys the chems and such that we are currently using. I do have the Energy Weapons Bobblehead as well as the Tesla 7, so this will increase our crit damage and energy damage as well as a Blight Soup. So for the first test, we're going to be proccing a crit using the Tesla rifle on the torso of this Super Mutant Behemoth. And to show, we are hitting for around 503. Now we're going to fill the gauge up with the Fixer so then we can keep that sneak so we can see the consistency of the crits. It should be 503. And now we're going to stand up, get out of sneak, and show the base damage of the next crit, which is going to be 395. We'll try it one more time, get it filled. 395. So now we'll move on over to the Fixer. Here's a quick overlook on how the perk cards look. Nothing has changed, everything still is the same. Now we're going to apply the proper buffs to compare the damage. So the Tesla had a bauble and a magazine, so we're going to be swapping out the energy with a small guns, and the Tesla 7 for a guns and bullets 3. We're now using the equivalent for the energy for ballistic now, but we also do still have our Blight Soup. So we're going to head on over to this behemoth. For some odd reason, I decided to take this very slow. But we'll get this crit filled. And our crit damage is going to be 397. Another thing is that I don't know why the damage dropped a little bit, but it ended up being consistently critting at 391. Now we're going to try critting outside of sneak. And we are hitting for 309. Compared to the Tesla, the Fixer is lacking a little bit in the crit damage department. Granted that the Fixer does have a perforating mag as well as a crit receiver. Now we're going to move on to the time to kill. So we're going to be starting off with the Tesla, and of course we're going to be using the energy weapon mag as well, or bubble, as well as the Tesla Science magazine. Now before we even get to that, I am actually going to respawn my character so then we have a certain amount of HP. And then I'm also going to be taking a certain amount of canned coffee to make sure that the test is going to be absolutely the same for both the Fixer and the Tesla. So now that we have respawned, we're going to open up the Pip-Boy and we're going to check out our HP as I look at the Behemoth. So our HP is going to be at 73, and I'm going to be taking 40. I don't know why I chose 40. We're going to take 40 canned coffee, which should put us at 50 HP, but also allow us to use our VATs consistently. Because unfortunately, one of the downsides with the Tesla, or at least this one, is that it has a very high AP consumption. But in just an instant, that behemoth disappeared. Now let's go ahead and check out a couple things. Our Tesla is now doing 173 because we are bloodied, and our HP is at 50. Now let's go ahead and check out the fixer. Our HP is going to be at 73, as well as I replaced the magazine and bobblehead with the ballistic ones, which is the small guns and the guns and bullets 3. Now, quick note, as soon as we start shooting, I will have a side-by-side health bar from the Tesla's range, as well as the one here for the fixer. Now, just to show you real quickly, we have 115 damage. I am going to be taking 40 more canned coffee. Again, I don't know why I decided to do 40. And our HP should be at 50. And here is where the side-by-side is. As you can see, the Tesla absolutely annihilated this quad 50 crit fixer out of the water against this behemoth. Keep in mind that the fixer does have double aligned, perforating mag, as well as a crit receiver, compared to the Tesla, which only has the additional 30% additional damage from the science perk cards. Now, it seems pretty interesting, right? But we're going to go ahead and take this over to Earl. And first, we're going to show you guys the perk cards. So, we're going to be using the exact same build, but now we actually have our Tenderizer on, our Adrenaline, as well as our follow-through perk cards. For the legendaries, extra legendaries to get the amount of cards that I do have, we are using the Lisa legendary set, which is luck, intelligence, strength, and agility. I could replace Master Infiltrator for take one for the team for a little bit more damage, but it's okay. So now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get ourselves buffed up. We are going to be starting with the Tesla rifle. So we are going to be taking our energy weapons bobblehead. We are going to be taking an overdrive, as well as the Tesla 7 magazine. But to top things off a little bit further, we are going to be taking a Blight Soup. My build is actually a herbivore, so Blight Soup is going to increase our crit damage. It can go a little bit higher if I had teammates, but unfortunately we are doing this solo. And we are going to be using a Liquid Courage and a ungodly amount of canned coffee. Now that we have everything added up, we're going to go switch to third person, because I do feel a little bit more comfortable in third person when using the Tesla in VATS. But we are going to be creating for 535 within our sneak. But even though the Tesla's sneak does get broken, the damage and the crits still hit pretty darn hard for what we have going on. So we're hitting around 485 with crits, and we drop down to around 470 when our follow through and Tenderizer do not proc. Now to compare, we used roughly around 150 shots for this run. Now I'm going to switch on over to the fixer. We're going to replace all the buffs. We're going to keep the perk cards exactly the same. And we're going to be using the Guns and Bullets 3, Overdrive, as well as a Small Guns bobblehead. Our Blight Soup is still active. And unfortunately, I did forget to take a Liquid Courage. But that does nothing for the damage. So now that we have all that, let's go ahead and head back down and see what we're working with. So I had to cut the video just a little bit because there was a bunch of Wendigos kind of lingering around. But here is a side-by-side damage between the Tesla and the Fixer currently going. And the Fixer has 80 rounds, the Tesla only has 60. But as you can see, the Tesla was doing pretty well against the Fixer. It is going ahead. It is on its second reload. And now we're going for the last 30 shots. And unfortunately I did get downed. Now if we take all the numbers from the Fixer and the Tesla is technically stronger, but the Fixer is more consistent with its damage, especially when it comes to bossing. Now when it comes to ads and other smaller enemies, the Tesla does shine pretty well. Now I wouldn't recommend taking a Tesla into a solo Earl, because yeah, you know, it can get a little rough. Which the Fixer has the advantage there because it can hold sneak a lot better than the Tesla. But let me know what you guys think. I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. For my final thoughts about this, I'm actually really happy to see that there is a weapon that is on par, if not, or technically better than the Fixer. But again, there are a lot more advantages with using the Fixer compared to the Tesla when it comes to endgame bossing. But with that, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all the other kinds of YouTube stuff. But as always, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Happy hunting, good luck, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.